One of Jesus' favourite ways of teaching was the use of parables. These were simple stories that everyone who heard could identify with. We often think the individuals who heard the parables didn't know what the stories were about. That isn't entirely true. These stories were taken from their immediate contexts. The things that most of the people often missed were the deep and more truthful teachings that were behind the parables. If we don't delve into these parables to unlock the profound teachings embedded in them, Jesus Christ would seem more like a storyteller than a teacher. One of the parables that we must give much more thought to, given the world that we're living in, is the one about the 10 virgins found in Matthew 25. It reads, "At that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were wise. The foolish ones took their lamps, but did not take any oil with them. The wise ones, however, took oil in jars along with their lamps. The bridegroom was a long time in coming, and they all became drowsy and fell asleep. At midnight, the cry rang out, 'Here's the bridegroom, come out to meet him.' Then all the virgins woke up and trimmed their lamps. The foolish ones said to the wise, 'Give us some of your oil, our lamps are going out.' 'No,' they replied, 'there may not be enough for both of us and you. Instead, go to those who sell oil and buy some for yourselves.' But while they were on their way to buy the oil, the bridegroom arrived. The virgins who were ready went in with him to the wedding banquet, and the door was shut. Later, the others also came. 'Lord, Lord,' they said, 'open the door for us.' But he replied, 'Truly, I tell you, I don't know you. Therefore keep watch, because you do not know the day or the hour.'" This parable comes on the back of the Great Discourse in chapter 24, where he prophesied about the destruction of the temple and other signs that of the end. Imagine Jesus speaking to our generation today and saying, "Truly, I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away." Matthew 24, verse 34 through 35. What would your immediate reaction be? Where would your mind go? The truth is that we could very well be the generation that ushers in the coming of the Lord. As he said, "But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father." It is important for us to live as if Jesus is coming back this hour. As a matter of fact, we should live as if the blink of an eye moment of his return can happen right now. In the parable we're engaging with, there are 2 groups represented, and they couldn't be more contrasting. There isn't any character bleeding in this group of 10. The lines of demarcation are very broad and apparent. 5 of these virgins in the parable were wise. They were prudent and provident. The other 5 were foolish and inconsiderate and careless. Jesus often used the term wise not to simply speak about tradition or secular wisdom, but to speak of individuals who give thought to future implications of their immediate actions. For example, we are told the wise man builds his house on the rock. He is credited with the wisdom not just because his immediate actions are prudent, but because they alleviate future disaster. For the wise builder, he needs not to worry, for when the rain came down, the streams rose and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. Jamieson Fawcett Brown Bible Commentary observes that they are not distinguished into good or bad, as Trench observes, but into wise and foolish, just as in Matthew 7, chapter 25 through 27. Those who reared their houses for eternity are distinguished into wise and foolish builders, because in both cases a certain degree of goodwill towards the truth is assumed. Our virgins must be seen in this light as well, and we must also judge ourselves by the same standards that they are being judged. The foolish virgins brought their lamps with them and were able to light their path, but only for a period of time. Their credit is they at least took their lamp. This could be likened to those who took up the profession of the true religion, but were not able to sustain their walk. They eventually fell asleep and were found wanting. They had their lamp, and only enough oil to keep it burning for the present. They didn't have any to supply their future want, to restore their dimming flames. They did not receive or maintain the saving grace of God, did not get or keep faith working by love, in interest in and union with Christ the good olive, or the life of God in their souls. The wise, on the other hand, had oil for the present and the future. Together with the lamp representing the visual profession of faith, they secured and maintained vital godliness through the indwelling of the Spirit of God, and living in the Spirit, they walked in the light of the Spirit. They constantly trimmed and treated their lamps, ensuring that although the groom delayed, they were ready for when he came. The bridegroom was a long time in coming. This is the period we are living in now. Our Master has ascended and is sitting at the right hand of the Father. We do not know the day or the hour, but we must remain in the knowledge that his coming is sure. While we wait, we must not be found without oil when the bridegroom comes. As the virgins waited, they all fell asleep. Benson noted that it is all Christians, so-called good and bad, sincere and hypocrites, those who really love and wait for the bridegroom, and those who only profess to do so, lie down together in the sleep of death, all while the bridegroom delays to come, slumber in the grave with respect to their bodies, and sleep till the great call that shall awake them to different situations. The wise virgins woke up and were found with their lamps lit and trimmed, ready for the scrutiny of the bridegroom. They found security with him in his perpetual presence. In chapter 24, Christ recalled that the last days will be like the days of Noah. Those who acted in faith and resolved to follow the words of the Lord were locked in securely away from danger. They were wise. We must also be ready. We must not live in this life without a thought for tomorrow. That is the way the foolish virgins lived. They were hurrying and scurrying, wishing they had made provisions when the bridegroom was announced. But they were told, "Truly I tell you, I don't know you." My friend, trim your lamp and replenish your oil. In the words of Jesus Christ, keep watch, because you do not know the day or the hour. Do not allow the world we live in to lull you into dullness. Don't allow the pain, suffering, irreligiosity, and immorality dim your light. Be on the watch. We could be the generation that sees the second advent of Jesus Christ. If we are not that generation, we will fall asleep because our bodies are prone to die. As sure as it is that we will die, we will be raised. The only difference is that some will be raised to be secured with Jesus for all eternity, and some will be raised to be perpetually separated from him and to live in utter condemnation. Be ready.